if you awaken from this illusion, and you understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. So, say in Hindu mythology, they say that the world is the drama of God. God is not something in Hindu mythology with a white beard that sits on a throne and that has royal prerogatives. God in Indian mythology is the self, Satchidananda, which means Sat, that which is, Chit, that which is consciousness, that which is Ananda is bliss. And in other words, what exists, reality itself, is gorgeous. It is the plenum, the fullness of total joy. Wow-wee. And all those stars, if you look out in the sky, as a firework display like you see on the 4th of July, which is a great occasion for celebration. The universe is a celebration. It is a fireworks show to celebrate that existence is. Wow-wee.
It looks like cotton candy.
But however, there's no point just in sustaining bliss. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control, where something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself, throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball, see? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea, then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that. Only you're pretending you're not.
Now you might pray to God, y'all, but I like Lucifer best of all. Sunday school is a place for fools. It's hot in hell, but the devil's cool. Don't keep Satan waiting. Don't keep Satan waiting. So don't just sit there, join the club. Sell your soul to Beelzebub.
Hey everybody, it is I, Count Jackula, your favorite stand-up streamer here, once again on YouTube, coming at you through the demons of the internet. And our Black Magic tonight, of course, we were listening to a little instrumental underplaying Alan Watts. And let's see who's here. Hi, Liam. Hey, Sun Wizard. Hope you're doing good. I don't know why your chats are not... Oh, okay, chat is coming in now. Okay, good. Yeah, hey, Chrome Bison, how's it going? Hope you're doing okay. If you're wondering why I've been playing a lot of Alan Watts lately, it's because, in my opinion, a lot of right-wing grifters and believers have been trying to hijack some of the great philosophical people of the 20th century, the great mythological thinkers, like Alan Watts, like Carl Jung, and because I am a real student of these people, they have gotten it completely wrong. Were not right-wingers. These were not authoritarians. These were not any of those things. They did not believe in the patriarchy. They believe it existed, but they did not support it. They thought it was the job of the philosopher or the thinker or the mythologist or the psychologist to think beyond that which the patriarchy provided or allowed. The patriarchy, by the way, very important hierarchical structures of our world that we have created. The great illusion is the patriarchy is a great illusion. You know, oh, but what about women? Well, when we live in a matriarchy, I'll worry about it. But we don't. We clearly do not. You know, we're not even going to live in a matriarchy if Kamala Harris is fucking president. Why? Because the inherent patriarchal structure will still be in place. Now, do I think Kamala Harris is a better choice for patriarchal leader? Yeah, I do. I think she will be a better leader of the structure that we find ourselves inextricably linked to. You know, therefore, she has my vote. Hey, Kira, how you doing? And Steps 8, how you doing? And why do I think that? Well, yeah, mystics are not necessarily legalists, you know, like that's not a bad way of putting it. You know, mystics, psychologists, and philosophers deal in muddier concepts. Legalists try to make things into very concrete concepts. They are two fundamentally different ways of thinking. Not that a person can't have both. In fact, you probably should have both. But one cannot apply the legal to the mystical. It defeats the purpose of both. Hey, Stacy, Victor, how you doing? Yeah, to mix the legal and the mystical is to fundamentally get both wrong. That's why in America, it was such a great innovation to say, like, look, we don't promote nor regulate any religion. The problem is that we have let it go too far. We have now allowed entities which are entirely capitalist and legal to have the designation of religion. That's not right. That is not right. That is not right at all. My opinion is, after you take in a certain amount of money, no matter what the reason, you can no longer be considered a taxless organization. Unless you follow very, very, very strict guidelines. For example, I believe that once a political party or political opponent, rather than an issue or opponent, candidate, is preached from the pulpit rather than an issue. For example, I think that you should be allowed to preach anti-abortion from the pulpit, but you cannot preach pro-Trump or pro-Republicanism. That, to me, is religion stepping into the realm of politics, in the realm of real politics, for real, electoral politics, the real shit, the shit that normal people think of when they say the word politics. That's not to be allowed. I also don't think that it is allowed it should be allowed for a company to be considered an individual. I could be convinced to make allowances that a company could be considered a political party, but not an individual. Not a people's, not a person. Let's see. Kira says, oh, Stacy, you're in a moral quandary? If a spell is immoral because the target does not consent, is it immoral if the target has given consent? Wait, what? Consent given is consent given. If they've given consent, then they have essentially allowed you to. So I don't understand what the moral quandary would be. Is there a third person involved? Is it like someone has given you consent to curse a third person? Because that would still be not great. Is it still immoral if a target has given consent? Like my normal answer would be, of course not. Yeah, Kira says, I feel like the darkest thing in human history is the illusion power is through binding laws. I don't think you're entirely off. I don't think you're off there. Oh, don't break into your grandfather's booze stash. That's unless he let you. If you need booze to the point where you're stealing it, you're in danger. You're in danger of alcoholism. S-Rise says, what's S-Rise? Oh, seriously? Says if it is immoral, it's immoral, even if the reason it's immoral is resolved. That sounds ridiculous. I don't know who you're getting that idea from. If it's immoral, it's immoral, even if the reason it's immoral is resolved. Well, if the reason it's immoral is resolved, then it is probably at worst neutral. I might need to know what the spell is. else. Oh, everyone else says if it's immoral, it's immoral. Even if the reason it's immoral is resolved, that's ridiculous. Like, unless you're will, I don't, I can't imagine a situation in which that would be doing a spell for someone given consent would be an immoral thing unless you gave me the specific example. Like, I wouldn't need to know who was saying what, but I would need to know what the spell was. Hey, Alexander Leslie, how's up? Yeah, curse consent kind of gets thrown out the window. That's one of the reasons it's considered a bad thing. You know, like, does it involve death? Does it involve killing? Never start a relationship with kidnapping. Oh, well, that's a good rule of thumb. But if they agree to be kidnapped, it's not kidnapping. Yeah, at that point, it's like kidnapping play, unless it goes too far. Unless it goes too far, you use the safe word and they don't stop. Then it's kidnapping. One of the reasons you have a safe word when you set up a scenario like that is so that once you get to that point where you start to panic and you don't like it, boom, everything stops. Everything stops. The game stops. Reality asserts itself. Is allowed to reassert itself. And yeah, that's my usual response to people asking for love lust spells. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like, the way I usually put it is, I like, do you want a love spell or do you want an attraction spell? Like, an attraction spell, that's different. But if you're looking for, like, love potion number 9 to get a specific person to fall in love with you, no. That I won't do. Because you're kind of doomed to failure. You're dealing with a third person's feelings who is not generally not involved. That's not good. If you're talking about, I want to meet this person, well, that's different. Or I have a type of person that I want to meet, or I want to attract a certain type of person. Those are all fine. Person agreed to a love spell, and I don't know the difference between attractive spell and love spell. A love spell is a person is trying to get a specific person. One is make that person change. The other is I want to change so that I attract that person. One is trying to force a situation that can only happen naturally. Love only happens between two people naturally. Well, I mean, not always just two, but it only happens between people naturally. You know, so that's why I say, like, the problem with love spells is that you're doomed to failure. You know, on top of the moral quandary, you're just doomed to failure. If you want to find love and you don't have a specific person in mind, that's different. Yeah. I won't do love spell requests. I'll do, I'll do attraction, you know. But those spells are always best if you do them for yourself. The attraction spells. Oh, how was Speak No Evil? Horror Guru watched that one, but I didn't have a lot of interest. I didn't want to watch it. I'm told it's great, but I just wasn't up for it. You know, you can do a spell that makes it more likely someone will find love. That's fine. That's a gentle nudge. That's trying to create the correct environment for it to happen. Because like like a planted seed, love needs a type of environment for it to happen. It will happen despite everything, but like you're asking fate to hurry up a bit, you know. Did I see the documentary I told you about? Ah, shit. Which one was it? Which documentary was that, Joe? I'm not sure I remember which one it was. It was about the guy that would lead people to the island to kill them, like, because he was like a Nazi, and it had to do with UFOs. No, I haven't watched that yet. I forgot the title of it. It's The Isle, right? I was gonna watch it and I forgot about it. Isla Alien, yeah, yeah. That means alien island, right? Like Isla is island. The fuck? Oh yeah. There was this guy who would the serial killer who was like a Nazi who would attract people to this island in South America and then kill them. And the way he would attract people to the island was by claiming that UFOs were there. It's a documentary that came out like just came out last year in 2023. Yeah, in the 1980s, during the Chilean military dictatorship, a group of radio enthusiasts began communicating with mysterious beings who claimed to live on the Friendship Island and have close connections with an extraterrestrial race. But like it turns out, it was, involved medical experiments and things like that, like human medical experiments by humans on humans. Oh, she loved blossoms more? What is this? Oh, this looks cool. Horror sci-fi thriller. Ooh. Oh my. Also, Jack, you're my friend and I appreciate you. Don't watch I watched the Salem's Lot remake. I liked it. It was highly condensed, but I thought it was really good. I mean, it feels a little bit like Salem's Lot crossed with Silver Bullet, but that sounds fine to me. I'm surprised you didn't like it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Good, bloody enough movie. It was bloody enough. It had vampires. Really, it felt like a sci-fi movie. Like that didn't feel that way to me at all. Are you sure you didn't see Return to Salem's Lot? Oh man, no, I actually really liked it. I think our vlog on it went up already. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Let's see, what did we review last week? That's going up this week. Let's see, Salem's Lot, Beazle. What was the other one? Salem's Lot, Beazle, Azrael. Azrael was the third one. Yeah, that's it. It felt like a sci-fi movie. That's weird. I didn't feel that way at all. I thought it was really well done. I mean, if you wanted a really faithful version of the novel, it's not that. Although it's amazing what parts of the novel it actually did put in. My only real criticism of it is that I wish it had been a mini series. Or 3 hours, like this is a movie I thought could have been like Salem's Lot is a story that could easily be like 3 hours, and you wouldn't feel like it was wasting your time. There's actually a lot that happens in Salem's Lot. It's despite the fact that it's not a very large novel. It's not a very big novel. It's not a Stand or an It even. It's like almost 1,000 pages. Like Salem's Lot's like 400. Like regular novel sized. But a lot happens. The biggest problem with adapting it is even though a lot happens in Salem's Lot, a lot of the really cool stuff is stuff that's happening in the characterization and in people's minds. Well, the guy's name was Straker. Like, that's from the book. Like he was supposed to sound like Stoker. You know, like the first two halves of Salem's Lot are basically Dracula in New England. It was the whole idea. The Rob Lowe one was kind of cool. I don't remember the Rob Lowe one. Or are you talking Rob Lowe was in Salem's Lot? Oh yeah, no, well, you're probably talking about Return to Salem's Lot. Hold on. Oh, they did one in 2004. Oh. Oh shit, I forgot about this one. I've never seen it. Huh. Oh shit, hang on. I'll be right back. I got to go handle something. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Uh, trying to go cold turkey on processed sugars there. Oh yeah, yeah, that'll. Oh shit, that reminds me. I should have got a coffee. Um, no, having had to do that, no, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's edgy. It makes you cranky. You know, you get a little upset. You get a little depressed. You know, you wonder what the point of life is. You know, like no, no, no. Quitting sugar is hard. It's not easy. The only advice I can give on quitting sugar is fruits of your friend. Uh, I drink a lot of kefir, which is this kind of yogurty drink. Um, oh, which one with the witch? I don't remember which one that is offhand. And this is an episode I didn't see of Out There. Um, you're eating nothing but chicken, boiled eggs, and salads. And your crush has convinced me to change your diet. Your crush? Chicken, boiled eggs, and salads. Like, look, I'm diabetic and I still eat like more than that. Yeah, but like the processed sugars, like yeah. That fucks with your mood and personality. You know, it's temporary, but it lasts for a little while. Like you're gonna feel yourself being grumpy for like no reason for about a month. You know, you're not gonna know why you're so grumpy and unfocused, but it's the sugar. You know, it's your body coming off of sugar. Yeah, you started to smoke more. Yeah. You're controlling your diet. You often like start smoking more. Um, yeah. The good thing is that your brain will come back. And if you're only like getting rid of processed sugars, like there are still tons of things that you can eat. You know that are sweet. It helps that you're not in America where they add sugar to everything, or the United States rather. Yeah. It's gonna. I wouldn't restrict your diet to chicken, boiled eggs, and salads, though. You know, you're going to have to, you got to do more than that, you know. I would focus on just getting rid of the processed sugars and worry about everything else later. Like just getting rid of the processed sugars, that's going to be hard enough. You know, you don't need to be compounding it. Okay. Oh, you do add sugar. Oh, okay, just not corn syrup. Oh, okay. Well, for the carbs, they're both bad on that level. Yeah, well, keep going with it, you know. But remember, the real work is in here and in here. Hey, doggy. Oh, you can see why me and Linkara get along, Sid. Yeah. We have we disagree on, but we agree on horror more than we disagree. But we have disagreed, but like it's never been a big issue. You know, I don't think, despite his character, what he does on uh comic, the reason he likes doing horror comics is that the horror stuff is that he's not as emotionally invested personally. Um, for example, you can disagree with him on a horror comic and he won't get too upset. You know, you'll notice this is one of the differences between the Linkara character and his horror host character. Like his horror host character generally likes the comics that he's looking at. You know, although sometimes he sees things like, eh? I keep daring him to fucking do the Rawhead Rex comic from Epic. I keep daring him, you know. Because the way they portrayed, it's the best adaptation of Rawhead Rex, actually. Um, it's they made Rawhead Rex to be what he really is, which is a gigantic penis. Hence Rawhead Rex, uncircumcised dick, or sorry, a circumcised dick rather. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think he could get away with it on YouTube, and even if he was still on Blip, he's like my, that's not the audience. Like the audience is younger kids, so that's why he keeps it clean. Despite the fact that in real life Lewis curses like a saint, curses like a normal person. You know, I always appreciated the fact that when he's off camera, when he's off camera, he's like, no, there's a me that's off camera, there's a me that's on camera. You know, and that they're clearly related, but the one real difference being that Lewis swears. Yeah, there was a Rawhead Rex graphic novel at one point, published by Epic back in the 80s or 90s. It was around that period of time. I own it. I own a copy of it. The Countess is actually the one that showed it to me. She had a copy. Actually, I think we have her copy. So technically, it's hers. but I have extremely easy access to it. Sid says, "Oh, that reminds me, Jack. I watched the recently aired season of Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries. Oh yeah, I saw that episode. The British guy talks with the ghost called Peggy. I was actually really disappointed in Unsolved Mysteries this season because there's only one really good one. Because the supernatural ones are just horse shit. You know, I like the really weird murders. You know, the really weird mysteries, the ones where it's like, the fuck is going on, you know? Let's see. Jack, have you heard that Clive Barker's involved in the children's movie Night of the Zoopocalypse? I did not. All right, night, Stacy. Yeah, some of the Clive Barker comics are actually quite good. Doggy run back out? I think he ran back out. Yeah, he ran back out. Okay. He would be on the bed rolling around or something if he wasn't. Oh, geez. Man. Well, it's time for me to plug myself. If you want to help the stream, and I hope you will want to help the stream, feel free to put in a super chat or a donation to PayPal to keep the stream going. I appreciate it. You know, I try to treat this like a job, and like a good job, I am often late. You know, luckily you guys don't seem to mind too bad, which I very much appreciate. But if you got a few extra bucks, please think of donating it to the stream. I would appreciate it. It is how I keep myself in coffee and cigarettes. Ugh. Man, oh, tapping the vein. The Tapping the Vein comics. Hold on. Tapping the Vein. That sounds familiar. Hold on. Clive Barker's Tapping the Vein by Checker. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Getting into some. I'm actually really liking the Skybound. I think it's Skybound that's doing the current Transformers comic. Let's check. Yeah, it looks like Skybound. Division of Image. Yeah, the Skybound Transformers comic is really good. It's real good. The dude to make Greasy Strangler made a children's movie with Elijah Wood dressed like Alejandro Jodorowsky in Holy Mountain. It's called Bookworm. What? Aw. Oh, thank you, Joe Care. Yeah, $5. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it looks like they've got some of the tapping the vein up on some places where it can be read. I'll check it out. Oh, although I feel like I've seen this book before. Like, do I already own it? I own a lot of I own a lot of comics. Jack, I got TTRPG for you. Just fell off the truck. Mommy sent you a PDF. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely do that. Trailers on YouTube. Okay. Let's check it out. Let's check this out. Okay, I see Elijah Wood. Oh, let's go back a few seconds. Hold on.
I'm Mildred, and I'm commonly referred to as a bookworm.
I'm top of my class. Straight A's all the way. School is like heaven for me academically and socially. I'm borderline obsessed to tell the truth. I like hunting, fishing. Look at this great big burger! You know, stuff of adventures.
You don't
Talk like a normal child. I know.
Mildred, it's me, your dad. I just flew halfway across the world to be with you, little lady.
Great.
Sorry for the whole absent father thing. What's this?
This is the Canterbury Panther. No one's ever caught definitive proof.
I could take you?
We leave at first light. Hey, stick with me. You'll be fine.
You know where you're going, right?
So, what does the average day for an illusionist look like?
I do appearances.
Wow.
You think it's easy making 100 balloon animals for Vin Diesel's kids?
What the hell is a Vin Diesel?
I heard a creepy sound.
Really? You're 42, Dad?
What did I ever do to you?
Most daughters see their dads more than once a decade.
Mildred, it's all right to be scared. I'll look after you. Go, go, go!
You can't do it!
Yes, you can! Nice kitty. Okay, that's officially the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I know. I'm pretty dressed too.
Aw.
Can I make one thing perfectly clear?
What's that?
This tent is a fart-free zone. Clear?
Clear.
Good.
I'm so sorry.
Christ.
I think I would have liked it if he acted a little bit more like Alejandro Jodorowsky. You know, like... you know, or at least Alejandro Jodorowsky from Holy Mountain, you know. Yeah, Mommy does look promising. TTRPG set in medieval Spain. Oh. Yeah. Just send it to me through yeah, send me a DM. Yeah, through Discord. Yeah, or like put it on Google Drive and give me a download thing. Ah, here we go. Okay, yeah, visit site. Come on. Da 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 da. Gonna love the art. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, it's not finished downloading. Oh, the art. Oh, this is cool. Go. Oh, it's like an illuminated. It looks like an illuminated manuscript. That is cool. Okay, let's see if it passes the test. see, what time is it? 10:32. Okay. Skill rows. Resolve with the D100. Okay. There's a character sheet. Okay. All right. And character creation. Tails, appendices. Oh, man. We got some typos here, but not what I'm worried about at the moment. Whoa. Contents. Dramatis personae. Random method. Da 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 da. Free choice method. Da 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 da. Is it? What? It's creating a character. Creating a character. Okay. Random method. Okay. Kingdom. No. What? Okay. All right. Class. Okay, here we go. Ability. Oh, they mean classes and social class. Profession, Islamic. Okay, what? Oh, okay, how do I determine my stats? Minimum characteristics. All right, if there's minimum characteristics, then that means that I have to spend something. We're starting to fall apart. Characteristic roles. Okay, Jesus. All right. For example, wait, what? Well, the skills cover the main. Okay. Wait, no, I'm in game system. I thought I was in character creation. Random method. Father's profession. Primary characteristics. Okay, Jesus. That should not have been that hard. Okay. Each of the 7 characteristics is between 5 and 20. All right. That's nice. What? God damn it. I thought secondary characteristics. Okay. Life points. How do I determine my characteristics? All right, primary characteristics. Difficulties for roles, combined roles, counter. Random method. Okay. Okay, this game is failing. It should not. It's been It's been 4 to 5 minutes and I can't figure out how to generate statistics. That's bad. That's awful. Why? Random method. Come on. Where is this? Use most decisions to random choice. Where are you from? You were Jew or Basque? Page 50. Primary characteristics. Oh, wait, hold on. Now that you know what the primary characteristics are, it's time to decide. Jesus Christ. Like, the most important part of character creation is hidden in the text. Ah. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing. Now they're doing that thing with it where you're like, the statistics of your character aren't as important as no bullshit. They aren't. They are. The statistics of your character is super fucking important. It's a thing everyone needs to know. Layout problems. Yes. Yeah, you could consider it a layout problem. It's a formatting problem. It's an organizational problem. Like, I have this thing. I have this thing about tabletop role-playing games, whereas I need to be able to figure out the basic dice conceit, the basic way you roll dice, the character sheet, and how I generate my statistics within 30 seconds. Like, if you could do that if I can find all of that in 30 seconds, the book gets an A. Gets an A on that. Every minute after that, the grade goes down. Because those are the things that you are going to be referencing the most often. Individual spells, not as important. Individual skills, not as important. But those three things, basic resolution system, character sheet, generating your character statistics, 30 seconds. I need to know how to do that, because that's going to be the first thing every player does. You know. I could do that. For example, with Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, I can do that. I mean, it's a little unfair because I've already read through this book, but like, let's see. Character creation, page 17. Character creation. Steps. Create a concept. Faith. Start building attribute modifiers. Okay, that's probably, yeah, that's our thing. At this point, you need to start building your character's attribute modifiers. See the overview of attribute modifiers on page 19 for more information about these important aspects of your character and an overview of the process. Okay, a little complicated. Attribute modifiers. These numbers do. Attribute boosts. A normal attribute boost increases modifier by 1. Character's attribute modifiers start at 0. As you select your ancestry, background, and class, you'll apply attribute bonuses, which increase the modifier by 1, and attribute flaws, which decrease the modifier by 1. At this point, just note +0 in each modifier and familiarize yourself. Okay. There we go. That was a little long, but not too over the line. Character sheet's right at the back. It took no time at all. Playing the game rules. Overview 398. Modes of play. Rolling checks. An action that can potentially, you roll a 20-sided die. Okay. Boom. Done. We're done. We're done. We're done. You know, like, we got it. That, to me, is the test. That's the test of the book. And I am ruthless about it. You know, I don't like gimmick dice. I don't like gimmick dice. I'll be honest. I hate gimmick dice. I'm like, no. Regular, you know, dice, give me the numbers. I don't mind if you sell me gimmick dice that has those values already put on them or something cool like that. But I shouldn't have to do the conversion the other way. I don't like it when games do that. I don't even like it when games have cards. I don't like it when tabletop role-playing games have cards. I think it's stupid. You know, at that point, just roll a die. Because at that point, you're just looking for the number. You know, you start playing a game and someone brings out a deck of cards. I'm like, please no. Please no. You know, all you're trying to do at that point is not use dice. You hate Fantasy Flight's dice? Oh, you mean for Star Wars? Yes. Yes, I do, actually. Yeah, I actually do hate that. I also think that the whole complication, force dice, regular dice, too much dice. Too many different types of dice. Not a fan of Deadlands. Got it. No, I am not a fan of that system. That original Deadlands system. No, I am not. Being a spellcaster in Deadlands sucks ass. It sucks complete ass. You know. Yeah, you look at the Matrix rules and you die inside. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Kali. By the way, Kali, question I've been meaning to ask. We know each other, right? Because I keep having this image in my head of who you are, and I'm like, and I just want to make sure it's correct. Yeah. The Edge of the Empire, the dice system is confusing. You know, because you're like, I have to count so many things. I'm like, oh, geez, no, please stop. You know, Like, I also don't like the way a lot of modern games treat the game master, like they're a nuisance. You don't think so? Okay. Okay, that means I'm wrong. You know, that means I'm wrong, Kali. Okay, cool. Yeah, too many different types of dice. I'm like, no, 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 no. I mean, D&D uses a lot of different types of dice, but I know, but they're all for different things. So, Jack, if you had to name your favorite TTRPGs due to system lore, except what are the ones that come to mind? My favorite one, the lore-wise, my favorite one is Shadowrun. At least up to 3rd edition. I'm not as familiar with Shadowrun in 4th and after 4th. But the first 3 editions are super solid, as in terms of its setting and its lore. Probably some of the best ever created. Like, any other game wishes it had the lore that Shadowrun had. Unfortunately, it's a terrible. They've always had a really bad game system. It's never really worked. Yeah, if I was to redo Shadowrun, I would leave out the technomancers, at least in the beginning. Like, that's a very complicated idea. Yeah, part of the way I wanted to do it was... Yeah, there are a couple of ways I wanted to do it. One was through... like, you did have a starting class. Like, you have a very broad starting class. Like, let's see, what were the ones that we... Yeah, it was Street Samurai, Decker, Magician, and Techie. Like, those were the 4 basics. And from those, you were supposed to be able to create any of the other archetypes. Like, if you chose, like, Street Samurai, that was like... You know, basically, you got tons of cybernetics to start with. And, you know, you got a lot of cybernetics to start with, and, you know, it should have been fairly obvious. What time do we get satanic? We are satanic all the time, my brother. Do you have any specific satanic questions you would like me to answer? Or a topic you would like to discuss? Because right now the Satanism we're talking about is role-playing games. So if you wanna alter the course of the conversation, feel free. But yeah, I wanted to have a starting class, but like after you pick your starting class, like it's completely open. SMIB, shake my immediate boner. I'm not sure what SMIB means, man. Oh, well, I mean, you're allowed to ask questions in the chat, man. Like, that's not a problem. If I don't like the question, I'll either say so or won't answer it, you know? I'm pretty freewheeling. Yeah, I think if Meiji Ascension I really liked, but I would do that game very differently, and I think a lot of people who like that game would hate my version. You know, because rather than it being entirely up to imagination, it'd be about stacking effects. Oh, the new Hellboy just dropped. Ooh, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go like watch that. Let's see, how long have I been on? Oh no, you got me for like another half hour at least. Also gonna have to check out that new Diablo. That Vessel of Hatred. Check out that Spiritborn. Start killing people with like spirit animals. I'm hoping it'll be good. I know it ain't gonna be Del Toro, which I'm gonna miss. You know, I love Del Toro's take on Hellboy. You know, I like the OG, but like I really, really, really like Del Toro. Um, favorite biblical demon? Actually, there aren't a lot of demons mentioned in the Bible, but if you're talking about like the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is what people usually mean, my favorite is probably Leonard. Just because there is a demon duke named Leonard. You know, but there are actually very few demons named in the Bible. Let's see, there's Satan, there is Lilith, she's mentioned, and Legion. And I think that's it. You know, there might be a few more. But by and large, within the Bible itself, not that many. But usually when people mean by biblical demons, they mean the Lesser Key of Solomon. Separate text, but, you know, because it's got the word name Solomon in it, you know, they equate it with King Solomon, which, to be fair, I think that was the idea. Yeah, and my favorite of the biblical demons is probably Leonard, just because there's a demon duke named Leonard, which I think is extremely funny. And it's actually pronounced that way. Belial, like, yeah, there's Belial, Balfagor. I think is it Balfagor or Belial's the one that sits on the toilet? No, Lilith is mentioned in the Bible. You know, it depends on which translation you're reading. It's a single mention and it's not very specific, but like that name or one of its associated names is used in the Bible, depending on which version you're reading. You know, yeah, Lilith's big like first appearances in the alphabet of Abin Sur. The second one's Balfagor's the one who sits on the toilet. I like him. I'm fond of Asmodeus. Is it in the Talmud? No. It's not. Actually, it's in the Zohar. The big mention of her is in the Zohar. The alphabet of Abin Sur and then the Zohar. I think the Talmud is. Let's see. I have to double check on the Talmud. See, is she even in here? Oh yeah, she is in the Talmud. Yeah, her story's really weird. In Islam, it's haram to sleep on your belly because Allah says a demon will come in the night and enter through your booty hole. It's funny. Does Asmodeus count, or was the Testament of Solomon part of the Bible? Yeah, Asmodeus is part of the Lesser Key of Solomon. He's one of the demons mentioned in the Lesser Key. Okay, Jack, based on different cultures and religions, what's your favorite version of hell? Oh, probably what are referred to as the Chinese hells. You know, because they are all part of the rebirth cycle, but they're also really unpleasant. Grimoire. I don't remember Grimoire. But there are a lot of them. Grimoire, demon listed in the demonological grimoires. Grimoire, or Gamori, is described in demonological works such as Mutic Manual of Demonic Magic, Liber Officioscorum Spiritum, Pseudo Monarchia Demonium, and the Lesser Key of Solomon. Okay. Appearing in the form of a beautiful woman, though as with all goetic demons referred to using the masculine pronouns he and his, wearing a duchess's crown, riding a camel, ascribed with the power of revealing hidden treasure and answering questions about the past, present, and future. The Munich Manual, Pseudomonarchia, Lesser Key, and Dictionary further give Gamori the power of procuring love from women. Although the Liber Officioscorum Spiritum describes her as a companion of the love of women and especially of maidens, while the Pseudomonarchia and the Lesser Key note that the Duchess's crown is somehow worn on Gamori's waist. Stephen Skinner and David Rankine, in their edition of the Goetia of Dr. Rudd, suggests that this was a mistranslation of the Latin Kingutur, which would have been translated as encircling her head. Gamori is mentioned in a manuscript labeled Fasciculus Rerum Geomanticarum. Legions of Standing. In the Pseudomonarchia, Lesser Key, and Dictionary, Gamori is ranked as a duke ruling 26 legions of spirits. Huh. And she rides on camel. Neat. Huh. Turning a demon into a goddess into a demon sounds very Abraham. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I love doing that. It's it's one of their things. It's one of the things. Like, well, they literally like the word demonize is literally from that practice. So after you read that, the things in my room start floating. How much weed did you smoke? How many drugs you on? That shit happens all the time when I'm fucked up. That's why I like it. There is something I want to talk about, can't really talk about with other people I know without sounding crazy to them. Well, you're in good company, so feel free, Victoria. Not enough, man. Well, get packing that bowl of that vape or whatever. Friend was lost in a building and asked him, how high are you? And he's like, Snoop Dogg levels of high. I mean, which level of the building, you dumb fuck? That's pretty good. That's a good one. My Islamic, I'm not that, I'm not that up on Islamic, mythology. So, or, the Quran. I haven't read all the Quran. Um, unlike the Bible, I've read that a few times. Hard to keep it all in your head though. So actually, I don't know about that. Are you talking about the satanic? It sounds like you're actually talking about the satanic verses as written by Salman Rushdie. Because I know that happens in the satanic verses of written by Salman Rushdie, because like that was the whole book, and that's what got him in trouble. He basically did like an Islamic Paradise Lost kind of thing, and it got him in huge trouble. Quran is a silly book. A goat ate a chapter of it, and Allah decided to take it out. Yeah. All books of mythology and religion are silly. I don't think any one of them is any sillier than any other. I can only, I don't feel like it's right to compare and contrast religious texts that way. Yeah, if there's supposed to be like some sort of incident with Muhammad writing down the words of Shaitan or Iblis, yeah, I don't know about it. I'm not that up on Islam. I know just a little bit more than the average layman. I know just a little bit more than the average, like, non-Islamic person. In America, anyway. Yeah, Miss Bunny Penny said, I've seen many ghosts. I woke up once and my son's toys are floating in front of my face. Seen shadow people, but they can't take you over if you don't speak its name. Yeah, I've seen spirits. You know, they sometimes I have to tell them that, you know, I've told them to chill out and knock it off. You know, because you know my big thing. I'm like, I am the conduit of that which is real and that which is not. Do not upset me. You know, when they start acting up, I'm like, you know, because I believe that, like, I kind of treat the imagination like another dimension a little bit. So when things start to take on a life of their own, imaginary things start to take on a life of their own. Like, I treat them like I would treat people or an animal, depending on how it's behaving. You know, we start establishing boundaries very quickly. You know, I don't like to, like, have that be the first thing, but the minute it crosses a boundary, a spirit, an imaginary creature crosses a boundary, I like to be like, hey, no, that's a no. That is a no. I've got a whole head full of rituals and spells that can make things very difficult for you. Let's not do that. I don't want to have to do that. You know. Because in my opinion, like, most spirits are like dogs. You know, in that thing where they just kind of want to play with you. You know, in that way. You know, or kids. You know, or kids. But, you know, you need to set boundaries with kids and animals. Do you practice any form of ritual magic? Yes. Yes, I do. It doesn't look like ritual. I don't know. So, like, for example, like, my big tools in magic are light, sound, and incense. You know, because they put me in the proper headspace. They put me in the proper headspace to do such things. And I find that to be really, really important. Everything else is a fancy accoutrement. Cool to have, but not strictly necessary. You know, I don't need it. In fact, there are times when I like to be as fancy as possible, and there are times when I like to be as bare bones as possible. You know, because I feel like both are useful. It's useful to have, like, you know, the fully blessed, fully ritualized version of something. And sometimes you just need a handful of flour. Or baby powder. Don't always need all the fancy stuff. And it's really all about getting in a specific state of mind. So I do a lot of meditation. And in that meditation, I speak to archetypal entities that I have developed a relationship and understanding of over time. Can I make things easy for you? Shit's tough sometimes. No. Purpose of magic is not to make things easier. The purpose of magic is transformation, which is inherently one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Let's see. Let me go back to Victoria really quickly. Let's see. And things that have happened to my mom and sister and grandma while she was alive. Okay. Yeah. Just go ahead and ask. Yeah, just go ahead and talk about it. But I will say, but I always preface everything I say about like spirits, ghosts, gods, archetypal forces, things like that. Which is the only thing that I can prove about their reality is that they exist in the mind. They exist in the mind, therefore they are part of the imagination. And my feeling on the imagination is that it's kind of a place, but it's a place with very fuzzy borders. And one of those fuzzy borders is reality, is the separation between the imagination and reality itself, which I believe that all humans exist exactly at the intersection of. The things that we imagine, we make real. They don't come across in a perfect form, I don't think, but they come across in ways we don't expect. Sometimes it's a predictable form, like a story or a book or a song or a piece of art, any piece of art. And sometimes you write a book about a totalitarian government being threatened by people in Guy Fawkes masks, and then that happens. $20, $30 years after you've written it, but still kind of strange. But those sort of effects you can't predict. You've put it out there and the world does with it what it will, which is kind of the scary part. You know, it is possible to create something, a thought, an idea that is so good, like do unto others as you would have done unto you, and have it become so corrupted, it turns into the modern Christian church. A message such as the suffering, an unjust suffering is a suffering unto all humanity itself. You know, story of Jesus being crucified. That's just a good idea. That's a good thought. But still, we have the modern Christian church. The modern Christian churches, chapels, all that. You know, Catholic, evangelical, you know, Anglican. It's all taken in a terrible direction. one of ideological conquest. So much so that that entire religion is defined by its ability to ideologically conquer others. And for what? The comfort of a ruling class? No good. Muhammad couldn't write. He was illiterate. That's not true. Like, that's not true at all. He wasn't illiterate. He was very literate. He's a very literate man. Muhammad was many things. Like, you could say that he was warlord, and I would be like, yeah. But he wasn't illiterate. He wasn't uneducated. He's a very smart guy. Let's see. Once I was staying with a friend at their house. At the time, I was homeless. They're moving at time to a new place. From when I was seen from the old place, I get it. Oh, okay. Muhammad could not write a single word. He was given the gift of reading the Quran only, which when he recited to his companions. Quran means recitation. Well, I'll have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. Let's see. You know what? Let's do the basics here. AI overview. I'm not going with that. Submission.org. Okay. Edinburgh University Press. Okay, that's somewhat credible. Quran identifies Prophet Muhammad as blah, blah, blah. Muslim consensus has come to perceive. No. This epithet for the Prophet of Islam is indicating conclusively that he was Muhammad, the illiterate prophet. Oh. Medieval and modern scholars, however, have drawn attention to further possible meanings. Based on an inquiry into the concepts of literacy and illiteracy in the Quran, the study hopes to provide some new insights into a complex issue that is of great significance for Muslims in the study of Islam. Our findings suggest that a more comprehensive application of the Quranic term al-Nabi ul-Ummi can contribute essentially to the understanding of Muhammad's prophethood in the history of Islam. Okay, so it sounds like the answer is maybe. Is there... Oh, it's got plenty of sightings, but that doesn't... Excuse me. He's illiterate. One does not have to be a non-Jew in order to not know the law of Moses. Oh. Oh, it can also mean illiterate of the Torah. Oh, so this is highly debated. Oh, this is hotly debated. Maybe a translation issue. Was it true that the Prophet Muhammad was illiterate? Yeah, so some say yes, some say no. And there seems to be a lot of arguments on both sides. A lot of good arguments on both sides. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Oh, yeah, not even all the imams agree on this. The imams disagree on this as well. Oh, so there's huge disagreement on this. Like that was Muhammad real? That we know. That we know. He was real. Yeah, he was a real person. I mean, whether or not fire came out of his hands and shit is debatable, but like, you know, but there's enough evidence that a guy named Muhammad did exist and he didn't recite something written down as the Quran. Yeah, there's a lot of argument on this, actually. Yeah, huge amounts. Let's see. Victoria says there was a little room in the basement that kept slamming shut when she tried to open it. When I tried to open it, it opened with no problem. Scary situation, a lot more happening till the move. Yeah, he's definitely real. He's also a caravan warlord and warrior. Yeah. I would agree with that. I don't think there's any disagreement with that. Not any credible disagreement. Like, it's like too much of the Quran has to do with the conduct of the army, the conduct of the military forces and what it's allowed to do and what it's not allowed to do. You know, like, for example, the Torah does not have that. You know, in fact, the Bible doesn't have that either. You know, so the fact that the Quran does lends a lot of credence to the fact that, yeah, Muhammad was a warlord, you know, like he was a warlord, a general. And it was probably what he was first. Because what he did was, his big thing, the thing he did was that he united the various tribes of the various Muslim tribes into Islam. If I'm getting the words right, I might have gotten the terminology backwards, but like he's the one who united them. Well, yeah, the Deuteronomical texts like talk about law, but it's largely it doesn't talk too much about military conduct. Not like the Quran does. The Quran talks a lot about military conduct. Like I would dare say it actually talks more about the conduct of the military than the art of war. Because the art of war was written for nobles to be read, as opposed to members of the army. Whereas the Quran was definitely intended to be read by members of the army. Yeah, the Arab tribes, and they became, yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you, Santo. Um, yeah, he united the Arab tribes and created Islam. A moon deity also identified with Baal. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yahweh is also associated with Baal. Yeah, I'm gonna get another coffee. Be right back. All right. All right, so yeah. Back to Victoria's thing. Yeah, yeah. I've had that shit happen. I had shit like that happen. There was a house that I used to go to a lot when I lived back in the Washington D.C. area. That was infamous for having demons in its basement, and I slept in that basement. Now, do I think it was literally haunted by demons? If you were to sift through every particle of that basement, I doubt you would find anything that would be considered a demon. But because the idea existed, it infected anyone who went down there. You know, like I said, I think the boundary between the imaginary and the physical world is permeable. It comes in even if an individual doesn't, even if an individual comes in a priori, you know, without foreknowledge. I think it still does that. I think it still affects people. Almost as if the imagination is like a dimension that's kind of like that sometimes shares space with ours. And excuse me. I dealt with it very Chinesely. I didn't realize it at the time. So I slept in that basement and everything was okay until a noise actually startled me. And then, you know, the noises intensify, shit starts falling over a little bit. And, you know, that feeling of like, oh shit, it's seen me, right? To which point I was immediately like, all right, calm down. I'm king. You get it? I'm in charge here. Let's go one of two ways. If you behave yourselves, I'll play with you. I'll agree you exist. And we can have fun together. But piss me off. Now you're going to have a hard time. We're going to both have a very, 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 very hard time. So what's it going to be? Is it going to be good times or bad times? All the noises stop. And I'm like, well, okay then. Now we can be friends. And I never had problems in that basement ever again. Tons of people still had like weird experiences in there that were terrifying. But I was like, no, they don't bother me. You know, and the reason is I set the ground rules. We could be friends. I was willing to be friends as long as they just wanted to play. If they weren't willing to play and they wanted to be mean or cruel, then we were going to have problems. Then the spells come out. Then the rituals start. And almost all Chinese spells to exorcise a ghost basically comes down to, yo, fucking ghost, get the fuck out. And you keep saying that as loudly as possible. Gets annoying. And that's the whole point. Gets annoying, so they leave. Because at that point, they got to do something real. They got to make something real happen. But there's an inherent problem with doing something real. If it becomes real, well, now they're in the physical universe and you could do something to them. They're not invulnerable anymore. Now it's a fight. Yeah, you pay rent. You pay rent. You know, you can demand that. You're in charge of the space. You're in charge. You as a human being are allowed to define the borders of your little patch of the imagination. You want to exist here or not? Scratch their back 3 times. So now it's being an asshole. Now it's being an asshole. Needs to be told to fuck off. I could burn this house to the ground. Then what would you haunt? The woods? Would people be there? Because if you want to be alone, you just get lost. There are places to go. You don't have to be here. No. Motherfucker wants to be real, he can pay rent. He's going to continue to misbehave. You can call up old Horsehead Knoxhead on him. Call the ghost popo. See how I like that. Want me to call Ghost Popo? You want Horsehead Knoxhead here right quick? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Get dragged back into the underworld? Dragged back into hell where you probably belong? Thinking you fucking rule this place. Who exists in the third dimension, bitch? Making me fucking pull this shit out. I don't like being like this. I don't like doing this. Making me do it. You understand? There's certain rules. Want me to summon the fucking backhand of Buddha? No, you don't want that. I didn't think I knew about that one, did you? Don't make me too angry. Missionary man, he's got God on his side. He's got the saints and apostles backing up from behind. Tried to lure his son into the attic. He said it wasn't her. She was in the bathroom. Well, yeah, then you gotta have to talk with the kid. tell them you're not allowed to be in no attic. And if you call me up into the attic again, and I don't want to go, I tell Dad or Mom, and she's gonna get it. She's gonna get the fucking Taoist priest in here. She's gonna get a magician in here, and he's gonna annoy the shit out of you. Oh, don't think I will? You could have your own Mortal Kombat fatality. What would it be? Ooh, good question. I don't know. Imagine doing that in an old haunted plantation house. Oh, no. Something like that. For something like that, like fucking uppity white people, that's uppity white people ghosts. Like if it's like if it's a ghost of slaves who are just now like our house now. I'm not gonna have an argument with that. But be like, well, yeah, you worked it, and it's yours. How's it going? But if this old master ghost fucking hanging out, no. That's what the voodoo's for. You'll just summon up the old Baron. Maybe Papa Legba. Be like, yo, find a wayward spirit that ain't where he's supposed to be. You know, wondering, just asking if you could, like, you know, take care of it. It's old slave master's wife. Do what you will, man. Do what you will. I just want this fucker out of here. He's an asshole. Thinking he owns the place when he's dead. You don't own shit. I did lose contact with a while. I said on Facebook, if you support Trump, unfriend me, and I hadn't heard from them since. Oh, yeah, they're in for a rough time. Oh, well. What am I drinking, Jack? Coffee. No sugar, cream, no sugar. John Smith says, another thing that sometimes helps in dealing with ghosts is ask them to give it a name. Give it a silly name. Nothing creepy like Mr. Bye-Bye or anything like that, but we're talking like Scotty TT. I don't like that. By the power invested in me by reality in the third dimension, I declare your name to be Blippy Bloppy Cheese Toes. That's what we're calling you now. That's it. Blippy Bloppy Cheese Toes. Speaking of, a ghost friend of mine in Switzerland just told me her home is closed down orphanage. She never thought to mention they found bones under the fireplace a few years back. Oh, well, that's horrifying. That's horrifying. One time a ghost called me a heretic. You know what I would have said? What did you do? What did you do? Ghost calls you a heretic. She never saw any ghosts but kept that under her hat for years. I wonder why. You know, the flat her family owns once lived by serial killers, they have to rent it out at half the price. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I laughed and said rude. That's exactly what you should have done. Rude? You're the one haunting me. Coming in my fucking space calling me a heretic. Who asked you? Jack, we'll be talking about to the great Count Jackula, seething mouth noise. He's not with our people, is he? Oh. Yeah, just me going. I can. I could see myself as an angry ghost. Oh no, we're friends now. A boom. But a donation will keep you on my good side should I pass unforeseen into the unknown. So always remember that. Donation goes a long way, ladies and gentlemen. That was a Christian ghost. I said, oh, yeah, definitely. Like, who else is going to call you a heretic in the English-speaking world? You're not being a good Christian. Who asked you? You're really that fucked up that you gotta like bother people from beyond the goddamn grave? Maybe MAGA are just angry Confederate ghosts back to wreak revenge. Well, they're gonna have a rude awakening. Rude awakening. Because have I told you my story of near-death experiences in the past? No, I don't think you have. Wouldn't a Christian ghost know that they were wrong? Doesn't a Christian know that wishing death and hatred upon someone is wrong? Why would that matter? Asshole's an asshole. I said I'd be Casper, the helpful ghost. Aww. Aww. Well, that's very nice. Never underestimate the power of stupid comes to MAGA. Oh, I don't. I don't, because, like, well, here's the thing. I don't think it's the power is stupid. I think that's a symptom. What I'm saying is you're not entirely wrong. There is a connection with stupid, but I think it's an indirect one. For example, I think what it really is a need for They must act in a way to avoid the discomfort of inconvenient truths. They have to avoid it. So, for example, I don't feel like I'm masculine enough. If you appeal to that and they latch on to you, now they have to defend you because their masculinity is now attached to this person. Classic cult leadership shit. And that cult thinking overrides everything. That cult-like thinking will override almost everything. Because once you have done it, letting it happen is how it infects you. And it doesn't really affect anything else. Like, you can be very intelligent otherwise and still be susceptible to this. However, if you're stupid and ego-driven, it makes it that much easier. It's so much easier to be caught up in that because you're not smart enough to think for yourself. You just do what you're told. You just get angry. You just get frustrated by thinking. You know, so people who are frustrated by thinking are very, 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 very susceptible to cult thought. But no one's immune. You're only resistant. Smart people can be resistant, but it could still infect them. There's still a way in. I think the irony is that the reason I don't tend to fall for cult thought, actually, I would say that that's not true. That's not true. It is very easy for me to leave cult thought, which is a little different from not being susceptible to it. Like, I can adopt cult thought easily, but I can also ignore it and deny it easily. Well, denial's the wrong word, but like, I can think myself out of it pretty easily too. You know, I am susceptible if the person comes off as intelligent. As a person driven by reason rather than false belief. But I have a very high bar of expectation when it comes to people of intellect. So when they fall short of that in a major way, I get extremely angry. And I think that is why I have not become involved in a cult. Because I could become involved in a cult very easily. Getting me to stay, however, is extremely difficult. Am I dressing up for Halloween? I want to. Let's see. Kira says I almost drowned in a public swimming pool. Oh, wait. This does sound familiar. Grandpa pulls you out of the pool and swim teacher didn't do anything? Oh, Jesus. That's fucked up. Yeah, 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 yeah. Isn't that? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Kira. Yeah, you experienced the what me that sounds like what me and Yogi call the observer mind. You know, the level of self-consciousness removed from judgment. Yeah, that that can happen in a near-death experience. You know, particularly one where there's like some sort of like I don't even know what to call it. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It happens in any ease. It also happens in high levels of meditation and in high levels of psychedelic experience. Yeah, cults are fun as long as everyone is there by choice and agrees that it is a game. But when you start thinking it's real, oh, you're in trouble. You've been trying to tap into that. Meditation and psychedelic drug use, can do it. There might be other ways, but I don't know them. But those are two ways that I know or it can be achieved by. It doesn't even take that much. Um, as far as meditation is concerned, yeah, that's the dying before death. It's an ego death moment. I actually think that it's related to the out of body experience. Technically, you were in Two Cuts MLM and Narcotics Anonymous. Ooh, yeah. There's one of those anonymous organizations I actually think is really good. Is the one for the families of addicts? I think it's called Al-Anon. That one I think is very important. Because it seems to largely just be a literal support group for people with family members and loved ones, either in their past or present, and how to deal with and dealing with the emotions of that. Probably helps that it's a little less of the you have to do this and more of a traditional and more of a talking support group. MLMs are soul and family destroying. Oh yeah, no, totally. Totally, because an MLM gets you to see everyone as a potential source of income. Like talk to a sex worker about that. Seeing everyone as a potential source of income and what that does to you. And how you handle it. Because that's an occupational hazard for them. Gamblers Anonymous doesn't go too heavy on magical thinking because religion, because it encourages magical thinking, which is the problem. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. John Smith. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a guys want to be your own boss. Just come to my triangle-shaped enterprise, and you'll be rich in no time. Yeah. It puts you in the same position as the sex worker. You know, who's going to be your source of income? Like where you, it does things to your mind, and it's why so many sex workers are lesbians, because they already don't see men sexually. It's a pure performance. You know, a lot of them aren't, obviously. But a lot are. Like they're they're overrepresented. Like homosexual women are overrepresented in the among female sex workers. Yeah, and I've only there seem to be two different ways that it can go, because here's they call it stripper sickness, but like not every sex worker gets it. Not everyone starts to confuse emotional exchanges with monetary transaction, because that's where it gets you. And there seem to be two. The one way, the one person I know who got it, who got stripper sickness, was she quit. She immediately quit. She immediately changed careers. Which for her was absolutely the right move. I've known others who were in that business, were in the sex trade for like decades, never got it. But MLMs encourage it on a much more direct level. And I also don't think that men are particularly... I think the problem that men have, I think they're actually more susceptible to it. I think men are actually more susceptible to it. They just don't recognize it. Because it's a part of how we're brought up. We're expected to behave anyway. You know, men have to be the breadwinners, the earners, the blah, blah, blah. You have to be competitive and take every fucking opportunity, blah, 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 blah. You know, where even a real sex worker is like, no, this shit I don't do. There's just stuff I don't do. No amount of money. No amount of money. Men are never told to think no amount of money. So I think that's where we are susceptible to MLMs. Yeah, I think young men definitely recognize the way in which relationships seem to be transactional. Yeah, they are. They're told that. The culture tells them that all the time, which I think is awful. Because there's no discussion, there's very little discussion outside of like fiction of how you are supposed to behave. You know, it's like, no, not all relationships are transactional. You don't want to think that way. You're not balancing if you're balancing a ledger, you're already not in the moment, which is where you need to be in certain relationships. You're not going to fall in love if you're keeping a balance sheet in your head all the time. Yeah, well, my problem with the whole, well, you lose nothing if you believe in you blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do lose something. I lose me. I lose me. I lose my individuality. I lose my soul. Whatever that is. But you know it's true. We can't agree on what the soul is, but we all know that it withers under those circumstances. That we can tell. You know? You know, that we can tell. We can tell when our soul is withering. We just have to listen to it. Because it's there. Whatever it is, it's there. You know? It's why I think a lot of religious people are afraid of therapy. Because they're afraid of having that, like, question uncovered. To themselves. Because then it's real. I mean, it's real anyway, but it's harder to deny. Now you got to do shit. You know, it's like how they don't like mentioning certain things that they might happen. It's the same type of magical thinking. And whether or not you think it's wrong, I don't think magical thinking in and of itself is good or bad. But I think it is good or bad given a circumstance. You know, like with the whole gambling thing. Yeah, in that case, it's bad. You know, but it's really hard to avoid magical thinking because we're human. So my own ethos on the matter is to be in charge of it. To be in charge of the magical thinking. To recognize where you're using magical thinking. And to go, do I want to persist in this or not? Because what you're doing is you're telling your observer self to keep an eye on it. Because you're not always in the observer mind. And you want your observer mind to basically occasionally come in and go like, yo, do you know what magical thing, what that magical thought is doing right now? You might want to be aware of this. The rest of the brain needs to be aware that this is happening. You know, because there are sections of your mind. Your mind is kind of weirdly partitioned. You know, you've got the observer mind, which is the observing outside of judgment. And then you have the ego, which is absolutely all about judgment. You know, you can't be without judgment all the time. It's not a good idea. You know, just like it's not a good idea to be in judgment all the time. Yeah. Kali is like, it's got to be rough being in those times, and he was sex worker for years, and just seemed difficult for her to pursue some relationships. Oh yeah. Yeah. And you're not even talking about like the other person, right? It was hard for her to pursue. You know, not. It made the relationship itself difficult. She's having trouble even getting to that part. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I believe there is only one faith, but that it takes many forms. It takes many forms. I believe there is a true faith, but like, not in terms of these are the rules that you should follow and this is the name you should call God and things like that. Those I think are all mutable. Those are all mutatable, you know. I think the one true faith can be summed up in a simple phrase, which is, it's okay. I think the one true faith is, it's okay. And that everything surrounding our expression of that thought is our faith. The yin and yang of the mind. Oh, thank you for the $2, Seeker Gather.
The yin and yang of the mind.
Yeah. You know, there's definitely, it's a hard state to be in because you can't always be in that state, right? Sometimes you gotta be like, no, it's not okay. You know, like, sometimes you have to do that, but like, in the face of great stress and distress, in the face of great distress, faith is, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I'm mentally ill. It's all right. My parents tortured me. It's all right. Not, it's all right that they did that. But that the here and now is, it's all right. It's all right for you to be a person who has had that happen. It's all right for you to be yourself, to be you. It is all right. You are not defective because that happened to you. It is all right. It's not all right that they did it to you. But it is all right that you are here now having that had happen. Yeah, the demiurge wants you to stay here. Ah, old Yaldabaoth. Would it be funny if heaven was real and full of atheists? I would get a chuckle out of that. I can see how that could be the case. And I would be endlessly amused. I would be endlessly amused. I would be endlessly amused. I think we might have to adjust what atheism, being an atheist meant, though. You know, because say there is a heaven and there is a creator being. I think an atheist in that circumstance would be someone who goes, well, yeah, but I don't worship it. My mind is still separate from its. You know, and the believer is one that wants union with that, wants communion with that. Whereas the atheist does not. Either of which would see as extremely valid. Oh, if an atheist had to spend eternity in everlasting worship of a god, that'd be cruel. That'd be mean. It'd be a joke, but it'd be a mean one. This is why I don't like Yahweh. This is why I don't like Yahweh. You know. Yahweh and his people. Oh, that punishment. Ah, fuck you. That's why I like Jan Buddha, right? It's all about transformation, transcendence. You know, this too will pass. Is there a fly in my room? Yes. Yes, somewhere. It's been really hot here the last few days. Like, we're talking like 90, 100 degrees. And in San Francisco, that is super unusual. Oh, there it is. It's super unusual. It's not normal. Maybe it will be the new normal due to climate change, but like, we'll see. Fates worse than death exist. Yeah, that's not the worst thing that can happen. Humanist, Satanist without the snark. Well, it's like, one of the reasons I like Satan is I love the idea that your deity, your guardian spirit, your totem can be simply, oh, fuck you. Fuck you and your bullshit. I am the great accuser. And I accuse you of horse shit. I accuse you of being bullshit. Sir. You say sin is bad, I say it's fine. Because what is sin? Why don't you tell me? Why don't you define it? No. Don't tell me what is a sin. What is sin and why do you want to avoid it? With all your knowledge, why don't you tell me, priest? Because I know. I know what sin is. You, however, do not. And that means you swim in it. The evil of a demon is nothing compared to the evil of a priest. Nothing compared to the evil of a priest. Absolutely fucking nothing. That's what I believe. So many priests lose their way or have lost their way or are cowards or are spiritual cowards. Occasionally I run into one. They tend to be the ones all the other Christians hate. But they exist. Good priests exist. But they are not beloved by their congregation. Because a good priest does not judge when you have failed to transcend. That's the condition. That's the human condition for that to be hard. But he does get mad when you avoid it. When you avoid it. Oh no, you succumb to the temptations of the material world. You mean the world that we definitely know is real? And has real consequences for the things that happen within it? Of course. Of course you were tempted. What did you do about it? What did you do about it? What did you learn? What is it you want? Who are you? What can you live with? Is it compatible with what I believe here at this church? These are actually deep theological questions that I don't think enough priests ask themselves and don't explore properly. So they succumb to the most corrosive of sins, greed and denial. Those are the most corrosive. Greed and denial. Not ignorance, although ignorance is bad. Ignorance is a bad thing, but willful ignorance, that to me is a sin. It's why so many Satanists equate Satan with knowledge. In the face of a religion where the order of the day is willful ignorance, what is more evil than understanding? I don't believe that priests are generally good people. I think they're like every other group of people. There are some that are good, but the most of them don't even try, and the rest of them are bad. The vast majority, I think, don't even try. I believe that. I believe the vast majority of any group does not try. No attempt to gain greater understanding of anything. I found it true in science fiction circles, in neo-pagan circles, in Christian circles, absolutely. They parade that shit. In Judaism, in Islam, in Buddhism. I found it everywhere. Christians, non-Christians. I found it among Satanists. Majority of people just don't try. They reach the threshold and refuse to cross. Which I understand the hesitation. But I don't understand the not crossing anyway. And there have been many intellectual doors that I have walked up to, and I have not crossed. I think that's normal. But when you come up to the big door that says the truth, don't run away from it. Just acknowledge, just be cool with the fact that it could hurt. And it will not hurt as bad. It will not hurt as bad. It could even be a joyous thing. In fact, the more you acknowledge to yourself that it could hurt, the more joyous it will be. The big metaphorical door of truth. Just like in fucking Full Metal Alchemist, man. When you feel yourself upon it. You feel yourself upon it. Don't be afraid to open it. All atheists are cowards. I don't think that that's true either. I don't think all atheists are cowards. I think a lot of them are. But like I said, I only say that because it's a group of people. A lot of any group of people are going to be cowards. All priests are bastards. Yes. Yes, I would actually agree with that. I would agree with that. Because even when I myself am in like a priestly mood, I'm being a bastard. I'm being an asshole. You know? All priests are bastards. But do I like them anyway? And that's an individual thing. If all priests are bastards and all atheists are cowards? No, but I think that there's a particular way an atheist can be a coward. I don't think all atheists are cowards. I think... How to put it? I don't think all atheists are cowards because I think in a lot of situations to be an atheist is the braver and more courageous choice. I think one thing I will say that I think is true of atheists is I feel that their definition of God is as narrow as a believer's. Yeah, I do think all religion is unlikely and rather silly. I agree with that. I don't necessarily always see that as a bad thing, but I agree with it. I agree with the statement. It is silly. It is unlikely. I find it amusing. As a person of spirituality, I don't feel like atheists are cowards as a whole. Like I said, individuals, of course. But I am often frustrated that their definition of God is identical to the true believer. They just refuse to worship it. Still trapped in binary thinking. That I would say is true for, well, I would say it was true for both sides of that. You know, trapped in binary thinking. You know, they've seen through one part of the illusion, but they have not. I think the biggest mistake a lot of atheists make is the idea that they are smarter than the true believers. No. Because the world of faith and belief is not the world of knowledge and understanding. It's not the world of empirical knowledge and understanding. Well, no. It's not the world of reason. There you go. It's not the world of reason and logic. But the world of reason and logic also has its limitations. So in many ways, I see atheism as a different form of faith. You know, they believe there is no God. And when I ask them, but what of the imagination? What of dreams? What of art? And they're like, well, those don't have to be religious. No. That's not what I'm saying. What about all those ephemeral aspects of the human experience that have nothing to do with physical reality? What of those? What of those? Because they seem to be a part of us, so they seem to be real. So what are they? And they'll usually come up with a clinical explanation. You know, like, oh, it's just random neurons firing. And I'm like, well, that might be what it is physically, but is that all it is? And if they say yes, I'm like, oh, then I'm sad. Then I'm sad because I'm like, oh, you have missed the sublimity. You have missed what it truly is. You're just as ignorant in a different way. That's tragic. That to me is tragic. And then some of them start saying stupid things like there's no such thing as free will. Well, then what was the whole point of this atheism thing? Did you believe that you had free will or you didn't? Seems like you made a major decision here. Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't affect the universe. Oh, as far as we know. But it exists, so it must somehow. It exists somehow. But we are the microscope that cannot microscope itself. We are the testing instrument that cannot test for its own existence. I wish it was another way. But that seems to be the way it is for now. And that acceptance of this is the way it is for now. It's okay. That's faith. It's okay. You don't have to believe in a particular God. You don't have to believe in any God at all. sitting there at that precipice of not knowing and not delighting in it, I think is sad. I think that that's sad. I laugh whenever I think of I encounter something truly sublime or profound. I laugh because it's always the most ridiculous shit. It's always ridiculous. Because when I let myself, which is hard, I see that love is real. I see that love is real and it is all around us. But we've allowed ourselves to focus our lives on this one aspect where it doesn't exist. Our jobs. Our jobs. Competition. Ourselves alone. Stoicism. Meh. None of that has anything to teach you about seeing the love around you and appreciating it. Nothing. It does absolutely nothing. And those are the things we focus on, day in and day out. That is tragic. That's so tragic. Ah, well. I want to leave on a joke. Once upon a time, there was a great philosopher, Wang Po. And Wang Po is a brilliant philosopher and a brilliant thinker. And he is famous for convincing people if there is no black and there is no white, then there is no such thing as a white horse. Ah, yes, Lo Wang, you're right. Yes, Lo Wang, of course. How brilliant. There is no black, there is no white, there is no such thing as a white horse. And then, one day, he is traversing into a village, and he comes across a toll gate. And the guard says, all right, that will be one tail for you and one for the horse. Lo Wang goes, ah, but there is no such thing as a horse. And the guard looks at him and says, unblinking, well, it's not a monkey. I love that joke. All right, everybody. I should be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. But I think the demons of YouTube are going to whisk me away for a bit. And I will see you again. So until next time, Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno, I love you all very much. And so does Satan. I especially appreciate Seeker Gather for his $2 donation, Joe Care for his $5 donation. I appreciate it all. So until next time, wash your ass and do your laundry. It smells.